examples of the internal workings of the State Department. I think the most notable examples that were brought up, and again, you'd have to question whether this was these
welcome
emails
back.
were intentionally
I'm
not
jamespfp,
released previously,
also known
even
as
though
James.
Clinton had said that she had handed
I'm
over
planning on
all known
streaming for a
emails.
little while here,
There
before I go to
are
bed this evening,
these
before I'm
bribery
finished
examples
up.
in particular are relatively they are
I'm listening in the
particularly
background
damning
here
of
to a guy
Hillary
called
and
Chris
others
Simpson.
in her camp. So we will
I'll
have to
post
see
the
if
link to
more
what I'm listening to here.
documents continue to come forward. There could be related documents in this case. There has been a Freedom of Information Act request. It's also notable the related case with Clinton's lawyers. The complainant in that case, Clevenger, he recently asked the FBI to release documents pertaining to the Clinton Email Foundation, the investigation into the Clinton email scandal. The FBI had denied that request, saying that hiding the information was justified due to a lack of public interest in the investigation. They received a lot of criticism for that response, and the judges disagreed with that. They've called on the FBI to release some further documents, as well as the Bar Council to move forward in investigation into Clinton attorneys David E. Kendall, Cheryl Mills, and Heather Samuelson. So that's a related case. Could be new information revealed through that. I will follow up as new information comes out. If you could leave a comment, that's greatly appreciated, and subscribe to the channel. Finally, I am over at realityreader.com and patreon.com/realityreader. I would like to just thank everybody that's donated. It makes a huge...
Thanks very much, Chris. Been listening to Chris for the last several weeks. He's Canadian, I think. As far as I understand it, although he talks very much like he cares what's happening in the U.S. political cycle. Although the last couple of videos that he's posted, he's made very clear why that should be so. Particularly given the connections between Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and all manner of globalists. Seems like he's got all kinds of friends when it comes to that stuff now, done it. That's what I say. I ain't the only one thought that either, I don't think. So I see one little thing needs to change, and it's very, very little. I'll do it before I do anything else here. I'm going to get at this map. The map is bugging me, the thought of it. But it's a worthwhile change, is this map. Let's zoom in Rebel Z here now, and then I looked like I had a tiny small, a very small frame discrepancy between Rebel Z and Faith, which I fixed. Very carefully fixed. And yeah, this is episode 23, ladies and gentlemen. I am glad to tell you the Banjocast has made it to episode 23, even with multiple streams per day. Like, I count them, I very, very seriously do count them all as one stream per day. So if it happens to be 3 times that I start streaming, it'll be number B and C. We'll go from there. For episode 23, I do have a bit of a surprise. We have a choice in music tonight. Do I give you a choice, or do I just start playing it? Well, I say I just start playing it. In the background, another selection from the sonic library that is the wonderful Grand Band. Side A, which I ripped myself, and it's not very good, on a crappy USB turntable, of a vinyl copy of Living in a Fog, which I gotta tell you is something else. You can hear everything. It's the first track on the album. The funny thing is this is my most viewed video. This song is the most viewed video I've got on YouTube myself. Had nothing to do with the production. isn't great at all. The recording is horrible considering.
She said to give you this diamond ring, and please explain she was making her own.
And I do have both sides of the album. I've got both. We'll play the first one first.
Did you see me crying in the dark, crying all alone with a broken
It's got almost a TV theme feel to it.
Did you think that I would worry or I should care? All the time when I was feeling down, did you think of me? Would you come around?
So yeah, I have to do a match. And that means that I have to take some very careful... I'll bring it back a bit. I got to take some very careful measurements. Although it doesn't have to be that careful. It doesn't have to be that precise, I guess. But I've got a timeline at the bottom here, and everything coincides with it and corresponds to it. So I put marks on the timeline to remind myself of certain things. But I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. Because Ford has the most places to go, I start there. And I'm going to try to keep things off screen until I absolutely need them. So, for example, all 4 of these clips I should be able to hide. That one's already hidden. That's hidden now. Hidden. Don't need that audio. These are drones. That's a sax solo. Hide all those for now. That's Faith Goldie just got hidden. Rebel Z, I'll get to him shortly. GK is underneath. So let's just do Ford first. Ford, I actually remember which one is his. It's this one. Okay, I'm not going to use that one though. I will use the original. Can you see why? So if I go back to the last keyframe, I actually manually set it to 0. Oop. I'm going to set it back to 1 and keyframe it again. And the previous one faded down too, I think. And the whole idea here is to match certain parts to basically to make sure that all of the different stuff is how do I say this? Music in the background. Sounds like Trooper. Sounds a lot like Trooper. I can see it more down here than I can on the top. What I need to do is to make sure that Ford's location, I want to put it all onto a map, right? So that's the basic information that I need to make sure is on the map. We've got a map right now already laid out. It's time. But I do want a second map in that space. Where they are and when. This I can tell. Because I got cameras on each of these people that are in these clips, right? Or at least camera operators have a definite position in space and time. For example, when Ford starts, he's in the parking lot on water. But before I get here, before I get to this point, right? All I'm doing really is showing what I'm doing, or trying to illustrate that I'm going to be using this main timeline for most of the calculations. But what I need to do now is to actually get a, how to say it, another browser window. Or not a browser window. I need to get another piece of software. I'm going to save some memory by taking Blender out now that I've got it all ready to go. I'm going to put this over here. Switch to the overview. You can see what I'm doing here now. Under education, marble. I need to take a screenshot. And I'm going to be using OpenStreetMap. I actually illustrated this earlier. I've been using this for my calculation purposes and for measuring distances and double checking my assumptions as to where is what and whatever, at least in geographic location terms. What I need is, whoa, wow, look at all the parking in this place. Holy shit. Yeah, the parking lot on Water Street, but that's really narrowing it down. Pardon me. On water, right? And I also need this big enough and far enough back. Obviously, I need it back far enough for me to get the right idea as to what this distance is. I'm going to measure it before I do this. I guess the best way to do that would be to zoom in on the part in question. Challenger passes Ford. Here. Right? Let's assume that this one. Let's kind of assume that this one actually is what it, as it says it is. Challenger matching description is Challenger. Let's assume that. Because that's like an assumption. That is an assumption. The Challenger which Ford saw on water is the Challenger. There's a stop here. I'm going to put a measure point there, not that it matters, so I have to add it off. I'm going to think he probably followed the rules of the road until he was right here. And to the middle of 4th. Actually, I'm going to remove the last one. I want that really friggin' specific position. Oh wow, that's nice. Can I turn off like things on the map like that? Now this doesn't add up, how to say this? It doesn't add up each leg automatically. I've got to do that myself. Total distance 1.36. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Total distance. He goes a kilometer in a minute. Yeah. That means he averages 60. He goes a kilometer in 5 minutes. What am I saying? He goes a kilometer in a minute. He's averaging 60, but obviously. He doesn't have to go a kilometer to get like 500 meters this way, turn 500 meters back, bang. And really it's half and half, right? figure this leg is about this leg. Dang, now that's some rockin' stuff. I like it. Hey, we got some chatters here. Sorry I didn't see you up to now. I have a lot of screenshots from Evernote. Would they help RE mapping? They might. They may well. I wonder how to do it. You could send me an email. My screen name at Gmail. Isn't Challenger at second? Yeah, he is. But then when Ford flips the camera, he's crossing the road to go here, right? And then the Challenger's spotted again pretty much here. So I'm taking that as the last time that he really sees it. He watches him pull away. When he flips the camera around, he's about here. So we see ahead. That's the first thing that I motion stabilize. To see up the road here before the turn. So the Challenger's real last spot, I think, is here. Either way, a kilometer and what? 1,300 meters. 1,400, let's say, round it up. And in 5 minutes, yeah, that's not so hard. You got to deal with traffic as the thing, so he's got to stop time here. And could he have made that distance in that amount of time? Yeah, I think so.
Sonny lives on a farm,
remove all
on a wide open space where you can take.
I think I'm going to use this as my base actually right here. And just trace over it essentially in Blender. But I need to pull it back a bit so that it's still understandable and still covers like enough of the distances. Like I need all of this parking lot.
Sonny carries a load, though he's barely a man. There ain't all that to do, still he does.
Oh, sorry. I just realized that.
And he watches the sea from a room by
so I'm here in the.
and the waves keep on rolling. They've done that for years.
So I need to get enough of the map like, to cover this distance. All of these, like anywhere that Ford starts filming, say right about here, he walks all the way to here before the Challenger passes him. He gets this far before he turns the camera around again. And then he's straight belt up until he gets around the corner here. So I need this main area on the map mostly, but I still want some of the outlying areas on the map so that I can pull out or pull from time to time. And since the Challenger route is part of that map, that's why I'm thinking it needs to be this big. Or the estimated route. That's the fastest route. He's got to make all left turns to do it too, so there's a stop here, a stop here, a stop here, a stop here.
Sonny's dreams can't be real, they're just stories he's read. They're just
I guess that one wouldn't be very long. This one is probably a four-way or a lake. That's a lake.
and he's hungry inside for that wild world outside. And I know I can't hold him, though I tried and I tried and I tried. Oh, Sonny, don't go away. I am here all alone, and your daddy's a sailor who never comes home.
Show large icons. My goodness, I didn't want icons in
And the
the
silence goes on, and I'm feeling so.
Are any of these names or businesses correct too? Because it strikes me that this one isn't that. I know what that one's called.
And your daddy's a sailor who never comes home, and the nights get so long, and the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so
So I'll probably just take a screenshot of this. Hit print screen in my case. Title name, the title of the track, or the title track of the album. That's what I'm trying to say. Living in a fog. I think that the OpenStreetMap I'm using is probably a little out of date. Only thing you got in this world is your wallet. Supposed to sound like a local. It does sound like a local. Going to start another one. It's going to be I should do a full copy here, but I'm going to delete everything out of it when it's done. Watch. This is going to be map bass. What I'll do is I'll delete things off because I don't need to save some. That's the original Rebel Z. You don't need that one. This one. Don't really need any of these things. Jeremiah, I kind of need to know where he is. Okay. Swordfish's overlay, don't need it. Depot's overlay, don't need it. That transform, don't need it. That drone, kind of need it. Those drones can do for now. So anything I've got deleted already, or highlighted, I'm going to delete. Whole idea being now to start nailing down anything on this timeline or on the clips. Where are they and at what time? But it's in this different scene, the map base scene. And the work is going to occur in default view. Sounds to me like the first side of the album's done. Very fun. We're in FFL bass right now. I need to switch that over to map bass.
You can drink your coffee from a plastic cup, sitting on the floor and never have to warm it up. I wanna go to stores and spend your money. Hang up on a ticket and find yourself
This, I have a camera set up above the scene there already. All I need to do is to start drawing, essentially. Over on the right here, or yeah, on the right and on the top, I've got a choice of what scene I want. All the elements of the scene. So you can see here I've got a camera 001. This is a full copy of everything that's in the boards. I'm not going to see it for time. I don't need to render it in for now. The whiteboard element is going to remain. It's going to be called map BG for map background. The zoom, I can use my keypad over here to change the view in 3D. I've already got like this oblong shape selected for it. It's kind of nice, right? How's that? I'll turn off the music for just a while. I'm paying attention to it though, because I knew I had a good ripped copy of that album, and it's a good album, more or less. A couple of real rockin' tracks on it, a couple of dated 80s things, and then so the screenshot I just made, I have to make that better first. I'm going to crop to the interesting part of the image. I'll go over into the overview again so that I'm showing what I'm doing. I've got a folder just for screenshots. Screenshots automatically get saved there. And I labeled it like Seville map, nice and clear. If I go that way, camera's on, isn't it? You see Blender in the background, and you see the GIMP on top. GIMP is like a Photoshop clone. Best way of describing it. There's a layers dialog over here. There's a tool dialog over here, and all the selection stuff for the tools. Then there's the actual image. We're viewing it at 60% right now. Selection tool. Going to pick an area a little bit around that I need. Probably doesn't need to be that far north, but it does. Let's assume I'm going to want an area about that big. Might be a little bit bigger. Might be a little bit bigger than I actually need, but it'll do. But I do need to make sure I get that intersection, don't I? Once the selection area is made like that, one thing to do. Image, crop to selection, essentially the same. In fact, it's identical to the way you do it in Photoshop. Here's the map at 100% resolution now. So it's actually pretty good for that size. Overwrite the screenshot. Get rid of all the parts of the screenshot I don't need. Changes have already been made. So this is this map. It used to be 1.6 megabytes. Now it's only 1. Go to the ultimate cut and drop that image in there. Could also put that under like a stills or something folder, but I'll worry about that a little more later. I don't need this for anything in the video itself. I only need that as a reference image. I use it for reference, and then I'll probably rotate it to make it. It won't be looking north, up, and down like it is right now, so you don't get a sense of the skewness of the streets. But for what's happening, keep it visually right above you, kind of thing, when you're looking down on it. To do that in Blender, I would rather see the chat here. I'd rather see the chat than a black boundary from VLC. We can see a lot of the same things that we were looking at in other Blender windows. For example, there's a motion tracking thing here, but this is not for motion tracking of the clip. This is for motion tracking of a camera. If you load a clip into Blender, you can actually solve camera motion from the clip too. It's good enough to figure out where things are in 3D space and then plot them. It's also good enough to figure out how the camera's moving. Don't need it right now though. Don't need to worry about shading right now. Background images I do. And I'm going to add an image. It is an image, and I know where it is because I've put it into the folder where everything else more or less is. Under video there. Alt cut. Only one photo. Less than a meg. Open the image and there it is. Gee, it looks awful small compared to the size of this that I want. I can make that bigger. Got all kinds of controls here for the image, what kind of color space it has, source, single image. I want it to be opacity, 100%, 50%. That's all settable. Stretch, fit, or crop. Depends on how big you got it made. Flip horizontal and size and rotation. Only reason that I want to have this image in Blender at all here is to be able to use it as basically to trace it. This is the same as if you're doing work in any other piece of like digital software. Most of the time it's a process of using some other reference, translating that information into the medium you're working in, and then doing whatever you want to do with it. This case, it actually has lines marked for buildings and stuff at high res. So we could start placing like actual 3D information in the scene too. In this scene, the map base. And what will happen is the camera will be over the map base in 3D, and it'll render that information to a channel as a video file, frame by frame. And then we just overlay that right on top, and all I have to do in this scene is to create a bunch of little icons for this person, this person, this person, and they can get big when they first pop onto the screen, but then once they're on screen, they'll perhaps have a unique color, but then be smaller. And then we'll see where they're moving. And if they happen to be video on screen, then maybe the icon gets bigger again and shows which direction they're pointing. That's my thinking. Very simple. It doesn't have to be too complex. Doesn't have to involve a lot of coding or a lot of sitting down worrying about who's going to do the script and and he's AI and blah blah. No, none of that. But it'll be very straightforward to this 16-minute clip. The longest one to do is Ford. That's what I'm trying to get around to saying here. If I get Ford underway and taken care of, I'll have a better idea of what to do for the rest of them. Many of the clips are pretty short. So, I mean, Gilmore is only 45 seconds long. Grassy Knoll is somewhere around 10 minutes long. Faith and Rebel are maybe about 12. I'll manually sync those icons. Yes, because look what I did. When I first started the project, I copied the timeline from the master track. So I've got the timeline to go by, plus I can skip back to the master track and just see where everybody is at specific times. Takes them several minutes sometimes to walk from position A to position B. I don't have to be that precise. All I need to say to Blender is, they're here at this time and they're there at that time, and this is the route they're going to take. So you can figure out where they must be between these 2 points. And then I also have to tell Blender, yeah, they're here, and then they pause sometimes for a few seconds before the calculation begins. Blender does the rest. This way I can get some of the visual information off the screen, and then you can be clear, like, why is this small image small? Well, this small image has got a border around it, which is the same color as the pin on the map. And then when the image gets big, the map icon maybe gets bigger. That'll be something I have to add in after the fact. So that'll be a bit more manual fooling around, but it's worth it. Thing is, too, Blender has all the tools to do it inside. And I'm better off starting to put more focus into this part of it now. If I hold shift and the mouse button, I can scroll or pan it around like grabbing it. If I just use the mouse, middle mouse, it wants to rotate it like it's on a rotating table. But it's not very cool in this view because it's set to ortho. If it was perspective, then I get it more like a 3D plane feel to it. Well, that's what I'm working with, this 3D plane. And I'm currently set the background image to be only visible in certain views here. View as render is one thing, but see where's to access all views. Image access from the top view is really what I want. And if it's in ortho, it gets it anyway. Okay. Everything from the top view first. trace a few where buildings are, figure where the streets are, put a border around it, see how much I might want to zoom it out or in, and that's it. And that's why I don't care about how high res the image is that I make the map from. I don't intend to use the image, just the information. I also made one measurement in marble before I did this, which is that part of East 4th here, right here, dead center in Main Street to here, or yeah, this to this is 75 meters from the edge, and this apparently is another 20 meters or 10 meters across here. I think it's 20, close to 20. Since this is 3 of those plus a little bit more. So this is close on to 95 meters here. If you started back here, that's almost 100. Well, that's over 100 there. Wonder how long it takes to accelerate up to the speed he got. Couldn't be very long, only 30. And yeah, they got all kinds of acceleration trickies. Okay, so I don't think I need to see much else on this for the time being. I have a cursor right here in the dead center of the screen. That's where anything that I add, like a plane or a cube or something, will be added. That's where this physical location is. Actually, I could keep the N up just to get this one thing. We call this block 1. Just for ease of ease of translation. Remembering that this is 4th, I got the star marking the intersection. I'm going to consider this the epicenter as well, though we could really put it back here a little bit. If I G, same as with any other thing in Blender, I get grab. I rotate with the R key. I can now set see these particular, that's what's called the control tool. Allows me to move things or rotate them depending on how it's set. Like you can rotate this way or you can scale as well. But this controls how that tool operates with this, and I want to scale this way in line with the way I've rotated it. I think that's local. So now if I scale the Y, it goes the way I want it to. Oh, what's this one here? Transformation. It's normal. Wait, no. View, yeah, goes to the way it's looking. Normal might work here too. Scale X, no. Scale Y. Looks a little better. Maybe it's normal. Gets real close to the edge. It doesn't need to be too precise, but I could, because I'm only using a plane and it's all in one plane of axis or motion. I can also do this. Hit Tab. Turns the plane into a series of vertices. I can manually place those. There's also a grid, like a Blender grid underneath it. This works well with pen tablets as well, or pen tools. Hit tab to get out of it. I'm going to do something in perspective for a second. Pull back, rotate it, and look at it, right? Because we're working in 3D now. To make this block, I go back into these tools, like in tab. If I hit A, I select all of these. I had to hit A twice because one was already selected. So A first would deselect everything, and then A selects everything. If I hit E, I can extrude the block upward as high as I need to. So the 3D work is already essentially done with a plane. And if I grab again now, it sees this extrude command has already popped those vertices into place. So I actually want to delete them. I'll grab and constrain to Y for a second. And then X gives me a choice. Delete the vertices, please. Go back to top with the 7 key on the keypad, and then on the numpad 5 changes to ortho perspective. It flips back and forth. Since I've already called this block 1, Blender's naming scheme is this. Adds a dot 00 and then a number afterwards. If I duplicate this one, it wants to call the next one 000. So I should really have called the other one that. But we'll go with that for now. Oh, I hit the wrong key there, grab. Okay, we're in the local mode here. Normal. Local. Grab. Nope. Gimbal. Grab X. No, that's not the one I want either. Should be one here that lets me follow the line of the X the way I want to. I could also rotate it, of course, just rotate the map. Make the blocks line up. Make that a little bit easier, right? How about we try that? Background image. There's the rotation value. That's got to be negative, what, 30 maybe? Negative 20, negative 23 at the most, nowhere near. Very slight curve to it, and that's to do with the geography, right? And since I've only added 2 planes so far, I don't really care if I have to start this over or not, but I'll delete that second one. Get this one placed again. G to grab it. Could put it there, and just move the vertices again. Here's the other thing to bear in mind. How it calculates the center of any given object is here. Pivot center for rotation and scaling. What is the median point right now of whatever? It could be the median point of the vertices or anything. Any information which has been put into the various objects. It calculates a median point for it. The bounding box is another way of looking at that. Whatever the center is of the boundaries of the X and Y and Z coordinates, because it's in 3D. The 3D cursor can be used as the thing for rotation and scaling as well. So I could put the 3D cursor down in the bottom edge of this block and then scale up from it. It's kind of nice. Median point is usually pretty good, and it automatically calculates the rotation center, but the actual center of the object is this. I'll show you. It's this. If I turn off the tool here, this remains. That's the actual center of these 4 points, these 4 vertices. So as I move any one of these, Center stays the same. Over here, create, what's the ones on the side? I gotta actually look here. It's not relations, is it? Group, parent, linked, I don't know. It's under tools. There's actually a way to, set origin. Origin 3D cursor, origin to geometry, origin to center of mass. So now that's correct. That'll matter for any transformations which I'm going to try to do to it. Turn the tool back on. Oh, that didn't update. Control A. Apply rotation, apply location. Rotation and scale. There we go. So now this considers this as 1. For all calculations involving this unit from now on, everything will be set to 1, other than its physical location. The dimensions also are in Blender space units. I could set these to meters. I could actually set the map scale here as well, and I may well, so that everything is calculated automatically by Blender unit. But I'll get the information mapped first, and then I'll worry about the scaling issues. I don't need to be in edit mode to duplicate an object. Let's see if I can't fool Blender into playing along with me. I'll call this one 1. That's block 0, but it's 1. Here's block 1. Great. Block 1 looks to be almost as big as block 0. Grab on the Y, move it up a little. Looks like it needs to rotate maybe a tiny bit. Now I'll do the editing. Looking for the G key. Here I am thinking myself as a gamer from time to time. Can't find a key without looking. That's crazy. Can't find a key without looking. And talk about crazy. Look at all the... Oh, sorry. Look at all the parking spaces. Eateries and restaurants area. Parking spaces. Where's the hill? Did I luck into that? Yeah? Anyhow. Duplicate. Manually going at it this time. Bam. That one's pretty close to the last one. I'll do this corner first. And as we can see too, there's subdivisions marked in here. I can estimate that on this footprint, I might want to put a few other sub blocks or sub divisioned representations, hey? So we could get different heights for different parts, although I'm starting to recognize which buildings are which here. This one's a weird one. This one's got a whole bunch of points. We'll have some fun with a plane doing this one. But I need to do a few more blocks. This is the one that Ford passes. Maybe I should do a few more back this way next, or look at this crazy one. And this is an elevated highway, yeah? I imagine. In order for this to be true. So this represents something which I actually have the model or represent on the map. We could show in 3D too. Had to take a look at Google Maps to see what it looks like. That was truth. Punch cards, well, I was magnetic tape. I graduated to magnetic tape when I first got my TRS-80. That's the way it goes. That's what it's called. That's right, I said it. I said it. I know exactly what to call my old one. Punch cards. Was it in a university setting, Janet? And was it when you were in Europe? So yeah, I'm going to keep doing blocks while I can. This block's not so great. This two looks to be the same. This one. So I need at least 3 more of these. No sense in like dragging out the inevitable. Shift D, all 3 of them. Bam. That's practically all the work done. In order to full size any one of these divisional windows, I can Control up arrow. Get rid of everything I don't need to see. Select these one at a time with right mouse button. Click close to their edges around the selection point in the center. There's the first point. Could scale in a bit now that I got a little more room. Or holding shift and middle mouse button there. Yeah, they got a funky front on this one. I'll move that one back. Bricks on the front, huh? That's how good these maps are. Hitting tab. Tab? I didn't know they still sold that stuff. Where's the any key? This looks like a not part of the building, like not a wall. Looks like concrete. Back from the front, right? Yeah. Over here. Oop. Because this is another object. I'll do this one for, yeah, the parking lot here. So I'm marking off this great big area just to get a division, like a block division. It's not going to be too finely tuned in areas that we're never going to look at because it doesn't much matter. Got no intention of trying to prove the Challenger went in here and whatever. If he had done that, that would have been interesting. But hey, the APC is right here. It is between these 2 blocks, right? The armored machine either it didn't come this way. I imagine it backed up and went around. Colorado School of Mines, cool. Was it punch cards for specific math problems, or was it just for sorting data? Sorting and storing. Because they're used for calculations too, which is amazing to think. I need these 2 for the fronts next to the parking lot here. The railway cuts these lots. That's cool. Blender's also smart enough to know, like, even if I use number 3 again, that 4, 5, and 6 are in there. Yeah. Solving problems, doing calculations. True. You know, I once heard a story. It was a Richard Feynman story. He tells a story about how to basically have a bunch of shuffled cards. If you use different colored punch cards for different computational tasks and count on the fact that you can skip a step or two before you feed the next instruction from some other task. Wild, like you could shuffle them and let the cycles like take care of keeping them in order. We still kind of do it today, but they do it in a whole other order of speed. Now they're worried about nanoseconds and microseconds. And the whole question of the voices, like that's the sort of thing that Oppenheimer was doing when he was doing calculations on how to figure out the characteristics of the specific bombs going off, hey? That's the reason why that whole type of analysis was even started, or why it was fine-tuned to the level that you could use it to figure out the difference between one voice and another. One fast Fourier transformation following another. I'm squaring. Lots of squares. Stringing beads for IBM. Wow, Janet, so you worked close to Boston, or no. That's for RAM, right? Random access or ROM? Sorry, that was for ROM memory, stringing beads. The computer's filled an 8x10 room, yeah. You mean to say you had a ceramic bead which would determine if a circuit was on or off because the wire went through the bead or around the bead? Denver. Or am I getting that wrong? That's a layman's understanding of what stringing the beads might mean. Ooh, parking lots are also blocks. I'm going to get the bricks in this last one. Although you can see how the edge comes back off the road. This is due to the hill. There's a bit of an indication of what the grade is on this hill. Ferrite cores, 4 wires. I strung the wires. Interesting, Janet. So that job became big business right about the time of the moon landing, hey? Because the ROM that they had in the computers that went in the Apollo command capsule on the LEM, that was specifically for a specific time range. Once the mission clock ran over that time range, the ROM ran out, you had to replace it and give it a new one. And you couldn't do that in space. Very interesting. Been learning about that stuff. That's really cool. Oh, wow. Microscopic, yeah. MIT. That's the reason I thought it might be near Boston, because I know MIT was involved in the project deep enough that they had worst job in the world, yeah, sucking in all manner of solvents and or solders. I need a new. Well, the blocks maybe as well be arbitrarily named whatever the heck they are. It's not like I'm planning to build a building for every one of these darn things. Shift D, I'll take this one to get the parking lot. And that one too. This parking lot's bigger though. Oh, yeah. And I'll fine tune them before I better have done now and not have to done again. Worst company too. Totally disorganized. Well, there you go. They must have been willing to hire anybody as long as they were, like, I don't know how to put it. I cannot really understand. Canada's got a whole other way of doing things in this disorganized. Maybe. I think of it as satrapies, depending on if it's government or not. If it isn't government, the merchant families tend to age, and like how to put it, in social status. Whereas if it's government, then it's depending on the department, and the departments all have their own little. We're smart, or they want smart people, and they prefer yes people, huh? So I'll get this block this way. Get the big part, and I'm going to put the actual parkade in there as a separate line. Might as well scale that up though. Put it right in the middle, eh? Yeah. This next one's real fun. Duplicate, Shift D. One of the cool things about Blender is I can treat any object as pretty much anything I want to, because it's based on these vertices when you get into edit mode. These are points in Blender space. I've chosen an arbitrary distance and whatnot. I'll later link them so that they all share the right information and data. Thinking of this as a big block is weird. But I need this one and the one above it, so is this open green space or something in here? I wonder. Must be. Parking area, old tram station, other parking area, Water Street Center. I had to look at the map again. Also have footage for the region too to get used to the idea. Grab here, grab here. I think I'm actually more eager to do this, because I know this building is right in front, or on the part where certain people will be sitting. If I select these 2 points in Blender, hit W, gives me an option to subdivide. In between them I now have another point. If I go between them two, W, subdivide, yet another point. Oh, maybe I selected 2 points at once. G. There's the Water Street Center. Labeled a block right now, although that's not really what it is, eh? Could also have called those footprints, I guess. Put down a word association problem earlier, Janet. Did you see it? using the same logic as that last one, I could actually duplicate. Ooh, ooh, ooh. X, the vertice. Could actually duplicate this to start doing the parkade with. Shift D, put it on the corner. Obviously some of these are going to change position, and I'm going to start to want putting in other ones. But rather than subdividing the whole way around, well, maybe that would be the easiest thing to do. Let's have a look. This is currently set up as a plane, like as a face. It will show up as an actual surface if I put some kind of image on it, or if I make it into a 3D object and I want it to be represented in solid. But if I go around just putting vertices, I could do that and close the loop of it, so to speak, pretty quick. But then to calculate the face would be a little bit trickier. I also have this area in between I could take out by adding 3 vertices and then setting them to Boolean exclusion. This is not part of the face, right? Which would be kind of neat. Yeah, I am tempted to do it that way. There's one vertex in the corner I want to keep for sure. This one here, I'm going to grab and put down here. Grab there. Grab there. This one goes to like around about here. This one very next to it. Between those two extremes, I'm going to delete with X key the edge, which is going to kick the face off of it altogether, so to speak. If I hold Control and now left click, bam, new vertex. Sorry, new vertex. What am I saying? Control, click, new vertex, click. Oh, the selection dialog's in the way. I'll get rid of that for a second. Click one there. Does it need any more detail than that? Do I need to get that edge? Probably not. Access point. Access point. Access point. That's definitely access point there. Maybe not that one. That's entrance for okay, that's people getting in and out of it. Access point pedestrian. What's this one? Service entrance. There's actual curve in the structure here. I'll just use a triangle. Gets to the end here, I'll select those two. I think there is a command for this. Is either L or J for join or link. Under mesh, we'll look it up. Edges. Make edges face. Oh yeah, the F key connects the line. So if I turn off the background image right now, we'll see there's the line, there's the footprint. There's pretty much everything we need, and we already got most of the area mapped out. It doesn't take very long. And again, 3D space being what it is, we get this in perspective too. So if I want to, I can start like extruding these shapes up or down. But oh, let's not forget, I got this Boolean thing going on, or a Boolean urge. Boolean exclusion urge. Get rid of that triangle. Go back in selection. Unselect these with A key. Hit Control, left click, left click, left click. Select the first and the last. F key, join them. Now part of the selection. Turn that off again, have a look at it. Bam. Thing is, this is the object center for it again. You need to set the origin. center of mass. Oh. Oh, select all. Origin to geometry. So Shift, Control, Alt, C. And we're in perspective mode again. So yeah, if I hit E key to extrude. Ooh, wait, no, that's got to be in here. E key to extrude on the Z. Ooh, on the Z key. Make it higher. There's the walls. And also kind of the hole in the roof. But I'd still need to make the roof. Right? I think to make face, it's much the same as make edges or face, right? But I didn't want this one in the middle. So if I select those 3 points, X, face, you get that. The one underneath there too, by the look. 2, 3, X, face. Kind of gets it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there you go, right? I've been using that one for a long time. I use that one with my smart people, friends. The people that think they know their Shakespeare and got the university degrees probably got more degrees than I got. I'll be honest about it, but it at least shows that you can say one thing and mean another. And it shows it elegantly, I think. Yeah, the real answer to that is just one word, Hamlet. And that Hamlet is Charlottesville. But there, that's as easy as that. That's why 3D really appeals to me. Doing things in 3D with the camera is also quite doable here. Like we can set locations to a camera. We could even, if we really wanted to, we could try recreating the shot from the intersection of Main to Water with the stuff in behind this building by trying different camera lenses from this point. But then I'd have to get the data for the lay of the land here to know what's uphill, what's downhill, so that I can get everything. But it's totally doable. Go above it, hit ortho. Actually, yeah, I don't want any of these top vertices really, not yet. This is a total guess as to how high this building is. I'll delete the vertices and the rest gets deleted. Turn off selection. There we go, the parking garage. And since this is the simplest one that has multiple and weird corners, I'll start that one here off of this one. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got it. I don't know why the guys didn't get it earlier. Maybe they were playing stupid. I don't know. Playing stupid, I mean. Like if you get it, it's a one-word answer if you get it. In the simplest form. I said too I actually didn't roll back on the chat and see if anyone got it, but I said to ratio could easily be a nickname for Horatio. Wonder how many middle H, like such and such a name, H such and such a name. I wonder how many times the H is for Horatio. And they never use it, right? They just, that's my middle name. Green lots. So all of these, they march up to here and back down again, right? There's a full-on church there, huh? Two, in fact, several. Never met Horatio, and I'm 70. Wow. Policier outside. Here's another case in point. I've got all these extra vertices now that I don't really need for this one. X. Bye-bye vertices. Grab that one, hit that one, hit face. It only draws a line between two vertices, but if I select all of them, I get my face back. And really, I could divide this here and make, that might be a good idea. If I select those two and subdivide them, select these two and subdivide them. Select those two and make a line. Then I have a face here between them. Grab and put between there. I could even limit it to the up and down to some degree. You've never met a Horatio who admitted to it. That's what I'm trying to say. How many people have a middle name H and they never say what the H is? What is that? What else could it be? Humphrey, Hubert, Horace, Henry. Henry, they'd use the name. They'd go by Hank, but they'd use it. Horace is much like Horatio, come think of it. Anyhow. Things to think about like too early in the morning. This one's very convoluted. Best way of putting it. Duplicate. Oh, I just hit my caps lock by mistake. Getting my coordinates back. So here, wherever I run out of the free speech wall, the wall where we allow free speech, but only here. X the edge. Bye-bye. Control. The reason why I select the last one is so that it links the two of them. It explicitly links the two. It causes the face to be automatically created, or the edge in this case. Control to there. I'm going to be a little more precise on this one. But, I mean, precise is a very... Like, I didn't need that one. Precise is a, estimation. Not really what do you call precise. This reminds me of buildings here in the city that are down close to where I work. Things like this, little courtyards, and some of it's parking areas. Sometimes it's like where there's dineries. You could probably eat outdoors probably in some of these little courtyards. If I now select all of them, hit F, it calculates these faces. There was once a time in 3D when you had to limit yourself to always looking for combinations of 3. That's how it does this. It puts a triangle here, it puts a triangle here, puts a triangle there, puts a triangle there. Anywhere it can use triangles, it does. Anywhere it can use 4, it does. So 1, 2, 3, 4 would actually work in the end here. The 1, 2, 3, 4 gets us to over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. Fun game putting faces in between vertices. Same thing goes for like how to get these blocks or buildings to pop up out of it at different heights. Maybe not so required over here, right? Shift, duplicate, get the tram station. Might even put some labels on these things in buildings that don't matter. For the sake of the map, right? Well, I got a real cool plan for how to do these roads and stuff too. I'm going to use as many different simple tools as possible to make some of these things easy to understand, but I can draw lines and curves to get most of this. Get the road areas that matter, like weird streets. And then put an object between them to define the length of the road or the width of the road. Overlay a few of those here. And that will be just flat area. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need any 3D information. No, I don't. Not at the moment. I can't see any other way for the Challenger to even get back to here. But if he went this way, he would only have had a kilometer to go. And a kilometer isn't very long at 50 kilometers an hour, say, or what I would consider road speed. If he didn't even go fast, he could do it fairly easily. Calculator. I ain't that smart. At 5 in the morning, I ain't even that smart. 50 kilometers, well, 60 kilometers an hour, you're doing a kilometer in a minute. That's the thing I used earlier, right? I have a list, but not mapped out. We would need to know for sure whether or not he could get on, say, this road, whatever the next one is after 9th Street Northeast. I guess that's 10th. Was access from water to market on 10th blocked or not? Did he have to go farther than that? And on the view from the video from the hill, where was it they went to, where they met up with the riot cops? Was that back towards the park? How the hell did he find his way around? He did it with his phone, more than likely. He was only looking for a quick. He literally made 2 left turns, and then the next left turn that he knew on a particular corner. On a particular corner, there's only one street and 2 that are even open to traffic there. 4th is a one-way going down. The next one is 2 streets past, so 3 really, and it's a one-way going up. He had no other way to go. 3 left turns, bam, bam, bam. If you can't make it, if you couldn't do it on 10th, how did he do it? Otherwise, because it's a fairly simple deal, right? If he's getting out of town, he's probably going to be taking that raised, elevated road, right? Does anyone know, or sorry, does anyone? I've got to figure out what's the set origin to geometry. I've got to figure out what the population or size is. I really haven't sat back and looked at how big the map is from one side of Charlottesville to the other. Like, how many population and how big is it? Is it kind of spread out or what? Feels like a very Ash thing to say. From Ohio, how did he find his way? He was arrested southeast of downtown. Blenheim and Monticello, depending on how you look at it. That's what I've been saying too. His car heads more or less east, and I've rotated it, so he is kind of heading southeast. So the car matching description is actually his. But if the tags on the car that was involved in the altercation aren't the same. How about this? The Challenger was involved in the attack, had a fake set of tags to make it look like him. I'd be even happier. Even though he was somewhere else southeast of where it happened. Population only 50K, yeah, 50K, okay. It struck me that it was on the smaller size for a city. Old tram station looks pretty though. You know, from the map point of view. We had trams here too. Trolleys. Had them, they got rid of them. Traded them in for the Metrobus. Oh. Vertices, silly. Make face, grab. Get them all. Face it. Going to set origin to geometry. I wonder how many people are thinking the colors they saw because they were wearing sunglasses. Things like that. That's the kind of thing I think about. I think about it all the time. That's why there's so many stories. People are like, yeah, people. Don't get me wrong. I like them. I like people, I mean. But eyewitnesses are not known for their reliability. That's why lawyers look forward to like certain court cases, I think, because they know, hey, we're going to deal with this type of witness, that type of witness. All very discriminating, I'm sure. Thinking there's a trade-off to be made here. What I'll do is get rid of the face, this part, these four. X, just the face. Huh. Two faces on that part, huh? Well, I'll get rid of the edge too then. Only edge and face. Huh. Well, that didn't work too well. Gone entirely. Traffic stop, though, all the car is definitely dark. And so-called iconic photo is much lighter. But yeah, this is what I'm saying. When the guy takes the picture, this is exactly what I'm saying. When the guy takes the picture, the tones that he's shooting in, he's got the sun in front of him, and he's shooting into direct sunlight. It's not overcast. He doesn't get nice even light. It's not soft. When the charcoal would much look like charcoal. How can I show you this? Oh, cancel. Not like this. Hey, I've been doing this little drawing task and it's going quite well, so it's saved anyhow. It's probably enough for any building footprints and stuff that I want. But I'll fill in a few more. Before I do, this is what I've been saying in other places. Let's go back to video editing for a minute. Let's go right back into something Rebel or Faith. No. I need to find a piece of footage which is going to be... Oh, I got just the one. Jeremiah. Watch what happens to the colors. Do you doubt that that's the challenger there? Dude who took the pictures is Jeremiah, right? I want you to watch what happens when I take the color correction which I've made to this image to get these colors. When I take that off. And even now you can kind of, like, now that I've told you, I guess you can kind of tell these aren't the original colors. I've had to pop those back in post. And I did this in the computer by laying this curve on it. And without these curves, that's the white balance. That tends more to red. All of a sudden this turns to bronze or charcoal when it's more silver in this one. But that's to do with the direct sunlight which is happening here. And if I turn off the white balance and the curves, that's the actual image. Now it is silver. It's charcoal only when you get the shadows and stuff back by using this levels pass. That's what happens in Photoshop. That's exactly what Photoshop's meant to do. Tasks like this in particular. And I was aiming to try to get the right color on the metallic minivan, plus the fact that it's not that it's shaded, but you're getting it from a specific kind of angle, so the metallic color isn't the same from all angles, right? But I was using other things to go by, like there's the multicolored flag here coming up. I know what those three colors are, so I want to try to get those three colors when I'm doing the color balancing. If they're not represented properly, then I know the color balance is wrong. But representing them properly in that kind of light is difficult. In that kind of light, it's almost impossible without you change some of these other colors. And you do so, you can't really control how you do so. Not after the fact. Now, all of that to say, we're looking at the same scene as being shot from up here, from a reverse angle when the sun is in his face. So when you look at that image of the guy in midair and the car barreling through, the lighting is extremely well balanced. Like it's been corrected after the fact, because in order to even get the shot right, he had to shoot into sunshine with some kind of long lens with a very tight aperture because of all the light which is happening because the sunshine is so bright and is in front of him. And a very, very fast shutter speed. The shutter speed so fast, you could probably take a burst of shots and get a whole bunch of them and pick the right one. Or maybe you only took one. Bam. That was it. I don't know. But the character of the light which is in those images is still evident in the images themselves, I think. Also. Let me go look for one. What was his name again? I can't remember. Where's the Time magazine one? Are you with me? Are you with me? So this is the picture he got from his camera from overhead. Same guy got this one. When this is true for his GoPro. That's what he got off his camera. And this is the other one. And look how bright it is on the top here. Look at how bright the roadway over here practically looks blue. It's reflecting so much sunshine and skylight. It looks blue. It looks like it's sky. But we know that's road. He's looking downhill. And the car in the picture is there's like these background colors. This is what do you call it? This is in the gamma ranges. I'll do something else while I got that open, or while I got another one. Yeah, Jeremiah Krupp, the other dude, the one who took the picture from the intersection. I think he took it from the intersection too. He had to have been up the hill for, like, and standing on a level enough place that he could be looking down on the angle, so right at the edge of the intersection maybe. And he had to have a few seconds to get up and get set up before the car got down there. And he was taking it at about second 4 on the way down from the corner. So he must have reacted to the car ahead of time, or was set up and waiting. If he was in a building behind that, even if he was in the Impeccable Pig in a window, I wouldn't be surprised. Trying to remember if I took a copy of that image anywhere else, but I'll pop open time again. Excuse me. Pop open time again. Merely for demonstration purposes. Going to open this one in GIMP, which again, that's the this is called the New Image Manipulation Program. That's what it stands for. GNU for free. Same image we were just looking at in the web page. Okay. If I look at how the levels are, it's under the colors here, levels. This is what the levels are reporting for this image. See this spike at the end? This proper black at the end here? I'm going to make this bigger just to show it off. This tells me that the levels have been brought down this way. Oh, sorry. This way in the past. And if you, I'm going to make this window again smaller to show you what happens when that does. Okay? When I bring this top one down, it makes the lights brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And look what happens to the gray scales. But it peaks off when you do that. It causes these areas to proper wash out. That's pretty much what a camera, if it's not set up to get, will get. Something more like that. But I think he's already brought that back once. And that this is more like the actual color. Somewhere up there. Not there. But somewhere down that way. And if that's dark charcoal to you, then like it should be compensated for more in this range. And we got all kinds of reference colors to go by to do that with. For some reason he wants it back this way. More dramatic, more glow. But the actual color, and if you don't have full range of, and look how much of a peak there is. This doesn't look right to me. This looks like it's been emphasized. I would expect more of a flat curve and then a bigger banding of imaging, like light colors, before it goes down again even. But to have all of this like super bright blown out in the middle, weird. So you can see sky and clouds here would have been better, more of a better indication of like what you're looking at. Marcus looks fair unconcerned. Now that's my take on it anyhow. I think that's what this tells me about how this picture's been. That's why the cars look different colors. This background scatter is giving this so much of this color. Even though it's coming this way towards us at the camera, it's also going that way and it's bouncing off everything that's around. The flatness of this image bothered the hell out of me. This stuff really bothered me. Because there's no indication whatsoever of the parking garage and where it is. And that looks like sky. How the hell could that be skyline? Like even that part doesn't look right. Like what the hell is that, a building? No, that's people. Zoom in on Marcus again? Sure. He doesn't look very concerned. That's true. That's my honest opinion. I'm gonna have to stick to it now too. There's his hand, look. Now what? His eyes not even closed, like he's totally alert in the moment. You get an idea of how fast the shutter speed is because there's no motion blur in some of these things. Little things like this spray of what it looks like water. Can't imagine what else it would be. A bottle of water either exploding or being run over. But that's so much of the sounds we're hearing. You can see water bottles being emptied. There's a huge spray of water as he goes in here. Something is literally like causing a fog even in grainy, blurry video. And there's lots and lots of water. There's not very much blur, but there is some. So that we can take a guess at what the frame rate is. Or the, not frame rate, the shutter speed. Thing below his hand looks like a metal ring. That's water. Oh, this down here? Don't know. That's a watch. If that's a watch, that's the rest of the watch strap. It's not his watch. Might be his. Pair of sunglasses, maybe. Phone. Dude's faceplant, look. Ugh. No license plate to be visible. Cut off. Or it might even be hidden. That could be painted out. There's no indication of the light it would be throwing either, so yeah. Seems to be not there. Gilmore didn't get a picture of that, did he? I got Gilmore's good video today. Yeah, it could have been photoshopped out. That would be the easiest kind of thing to take out. Hey, Rocky. With plate showing. Yeah, I was just thinking, I got Gilmore here again today. I'm going to pop this open for a second. Let's have a peek at that one. Yeah, you can't even see the tundra until about here. Close. This is right off his Twitter page. I got this one. So it is a pretty decent video. I'm going to copy just settings on this little clip because I need one that's ending ×3. Back that buggy up. Gilmore, Twitter. Baby. So glad to see this today. Not like I was waiting in the mail or something, but I didn't know where he had posted it. And Nun figured this out for me. He is totally the genius when it comes to that part. This is Gilmore's Twitter. He posted this to Twitter at 6 o'clock in the night. Says he turned it into the cops too in the same post. So this is the best quality I've seen of Gilmore yet, I think. We can see the plate, we can't read it. On the not on the I know the whole point is the Tundra, but I mean to say we can at least make out the fact that there is a plate on this one. So the Tundra, if it's got one, should be visible. Because they all clear. Now, picture we were just looking at. One of these guys was in it, wasn't he? Or there's somebody in the shot. Maybe beyond back of us. But anyhow. Anyhow. There's the Tundra. There's probably a reflection off the bumper. That's someone falling. Blocked. Got the red tail light. Ah, there's a plate there. For the white to get through, there's a plate there. Somebody down in front of it too, but there I think there's a plate there. And then he turns away right away. Turns back though. Too many people crowding down into it again. Think he got the idea quicker though. Here he comes. See him through the window on the other side, right? Gilmore's idea of the color is sunlight reflecting off this way on a metallic finish. See where the shadow is? So much of this is basically glare. Falls off it right away. Gilmore's camera is doing all the color balancing. I think that's the reason why he made the noise in the first place. He hits this hard enough that he brings his bottom, like the ground effect piece out, like the bodywork on the bottom, grinds. He clears through that 20 meters in no time flat. Basically in 1 second flat he goes through here, as opposed to 2, which is what he does the time before. This seems to run a little longer too. You see how far uphill there is. So if he had been up here before he started down, as faith goes, here you go, right? If he had flashed his lights, would somebody have been able to see it in the intersection? If he's uphill? Tundra is temp plates. Yeah. Oh, I think Rocky, I think someone else told me about that too. They have dealer plate, what they call it, dealer plates or something? The temp plates that show it was on a test drive from a dealer. From a dealership. A dealer. Makes it sound like a whole other deal. Thanks, Rocky. Duly noted. Actually, I'll write that down. So I got a lot of good stuff. Knee grind photo essay. Thanks. Dude here, look. He makes it down, right down to the intersection. And his, I think Grassy Knoll catches him as well as Ford. Now that I'm looking at it. Hey, tell me, the photographer who got that shot, anyhow, the one that spawned all of the time in GIMP and stuff, he should be right here, I think. He must be in this immediate area. He could even be shooting, say, from that open window to get that angle. Maybe. Because he ain't going to see nothing like the... he ain't going to see the parking lot too easily. But that seems a little bit high. Then again, the Google car, like... I looked at Google Maps and could get all of this stuff. If I just back up Gilmore a bit. Don't want to cause a crash while I'm doing this. Wait till he turns back down the street again and he zooms in a little. Doesn't really zoom in much. I guess he's using motion stabilization insofar as he can. When he's looking down the street here, if I zoom in, oh ho, red sign, red sign. Had a hard time finding the yellow ones in any other camera, let alone red ones. There's the yellow one. Get it? No sign whatsoever of the parking garage. There's the tree. There's the sign. So Gilmore got the angle, but he's too close. He's way too close. He's a little bit too low. Otherwise, you can't really make this distinction that this is sky under here. So we're seeing something that's really, really tight and zoomed in. It means he's farther back. So when Gilmore turns around, we should have... There's the guy in the red shirt. Red and gray. Man, they were all amped. They must have been amped for about 6 hours after. They're like, give me a Red Bull. Wow, I'm alive. Which photo? The one that shows Marcus midair from the Challenger from behind. Do you see how we could see all the signs and stuff in that last one too? Like, Gilmore can get that shot, sorta, but he doesn't get it like the guy gets it. And the reason is the guy is shooting from behind here. He's shooting from up here. He's got the benefit, say, of all the elevation he can get. But he has to be somewhere in around here. That photographer must be here with the camera out. For Christ's sake, how did he get that shot? The bike. Exactly, the sky you see is the roadway. And the reason it looks like sky is it's taking so much reflected light from sunshine and the sky that it looks that way. It's practically like a mirage, the coloration you get off the sky at that, off the roadway at that angle. It's practically a mirage with the camera. It's not under. That's not sky underneath. That's roadway reflecting color from the skyline. And that's the only colors that make it through the processing of the image afterward. It makes it look like sky. It ain't sky. It's roadway. You're looking down on it. I'm telling you. Gilmore can do the same thing, but I'd have to recolor Gilmore to do it. Swatch. I could pretty much do it with Gilmore. If you need an actual like ground level camera angle to get it. But look. I know you're a few seconds behind me. Tell me that that color and that color is not that different. That's more gray. That's slightly less gray. It looks almost like sky. It's so bright. So your mind kind of puts it together that way. That it's looking up under the underpass. It can't. It can't. No way. That's roadway reflecting, and the color difference because the image has been adjusted a little bit or a lot to allow for the conditions he's shooting under. Look where the sun is. Directly south. These here are pretty good. Look at that. Right over his fuzzy head. Yellow sign, red sign, red sign. Am we seeing sky there, or are we seeing road? I think we're seeing road. I went through it with Google Maps, is what I did. And saw the way it actually goes, and I said, okay, I needed to see that. The wall to the right has been stretched up. That's to do with the fact that you're looking at... It's the... How to put this? The width, not the width of the lens, but the number of degrees which the lens is actually taking in fills the frame. Yes. It's been stretched up because it's almost as if it's been cropped, but it's been cropped by the fact that it's zoomed in, right? The more you zoom in, the less and less visual information you get. If you zoom in, like if I was on the one end of the harbor and I had a zoom lens, say I'm on the north side and looking south to where the boats are, and I zoom in on the boats. The more I zoom in on a specific boat and I frame it like so that the boat touches from one side of the image to the other side of the image, I'm seeing less and less of the whole of the other side as I do that, right? That's what's happening to there. Once it's zoomed, it's not so much that it's stretched, but that's all that you see. So your eye puts together what you see. If I cropped this image and all I looked at was this part down here, if I cut it off right here at the halfway mark, didn't look at the sky at all, it's not even halfway. That's effectively what happens when the zoom occurs. It zooms into only this tiny, tiny little area. So that you get something like this. But from the reverse angle. Not this side, the other side of the alleyway. Like over there on 4th Street. From my point of view. And probably up behind. Because a long, long lens, the farther back the better. To get everything in the shot. So I've almost got enough information in Gilmore here to recreate that photograph. And you can prove it with the right lens, right? One sign, two yellow ones, two red ones. It's incredible, really. I haven't been looking for it that much. I was like, where will I find those signs? Gilmore doesn't have them. Yes, he does. Shit. So I don't think any Janet, that's what I'm trying to say too. Let's look for the photographer on the road when he turns the camera. If what I'm saying is true, there should be a photographer over here somewhere, obviously taking a picture a few seconds ago. Not visible. Oh, there's one. Him. He could get it. See what he's using there. He's got a lens and he's zooming in. He's got a hard helmet. He's waiting for it. He's been shooting for a while. Let's go back and look at it again. Gray pants. Flip-flops. Button-up shirt. Short sleeves. That's not a helmet. That's a soft hat. No, it isn't. Don't think so. You can get it with a fisheye too. Thing is, he zoomed in enough that you're only going to see what he zoomed into. And it's such a short area, and it's such a long length, that it at least gives you an idea of what's behind it. I think the stuff in behind looks too big. Looks way too big. That's been either zoomed or stretched. If that's what you're saying, yeah, I kind of get what you mean. But if that's not him, I want to point out something else. See this window open up here? A long lens up there could do it too. I bet. We'll see it better here. A longer lens through this window could do it too. Is it open or not? Is there anything in it? That's reflection in the window. Where did he go after he turned? What perspective error? There's another way of looking at this too. There's a halo shirt. Am I in the right window here? I am too. I've got my camera turned off. I'm sorry. I've been using my darn hands to tell things, like going like this and describing. He'd be over here somewhere. Shit. Deep focus. A large depth of field. Also possible to achieve the illusion of deep focusing with optical tricks by compositing two pictures together. That's what you're saying. Yes, we could fake this by compositing or by putting two elements and then doing some kind of photo trickery in the back elements to make it look right. That's the argument about the moon landing didn't happen too. That's what they're saying when they say Stanley Kubrick did it. But it's normally achieved by choosing a small aperture. You need a very, very, very small aperture. He's shooting into the sun. Very likely that's what he's using. Aperture of the camera determines how much light enters through the lens, so achieving deep focus requires a bright scene or long exposure. Very bright scene, check. Wide-angle lenses also make a larger portrait of the image appear sharp. So he's got a wider lens. He's maybe a little wider than a 35mm lens. But it's not a fisheye. It's not a really wide-angle lens. And he's zooming in with this really tight little aperture. The tighter, the better. The tighter that aperture, the smaller and smaller the field of view that you're really going to be getting. And that's why it seems to fill the lens and it gets all of this wickedly sharp information. It's like a pinhole camera. The smaller the aperture gets. I'm wondering, yeah, use in modern film is more common in film than it is in anything else. Average length of each shot has become short over the years. Wait, no, I got an example. Let's see. Deep focus. Just pick one at random. Let's watch this one. Oh no, maybe not. I'll do it the other way around. Deep focus. Spielberg. And I'll just pick this one because. No, videos maybe. How about images? Looking for the one with the railway station. Probably not here. The Jaws image. There's nothing to do with it. There's just one shot where he makes it look like there's a huge number of soldiers when there's a very small number of soldiers because he zooms in on them using this deep focus lens. Everything appears to be way bigger and stretched out in weird ways, like things in the back are bigger than they would otherwise be. Yeah. None. Pinhole camera is a good analogy. The smaller the pinhole, the more stuff bends once it gets past that hole. That's why. I had to think about it myself. He's using a very small aperture and a very short exposure time. Look at the light he's dealing with. He's got the sun right in front of him. He got no better angle. He's got the roadway and everything is working in his favor. And anything that's down in that bottom area is going to be visible no matter much he does, right? Gotta run. Thanks, None. We've been doing a map tonight. Hey, see you later, None. I've been having a real good look at Gilmore all the same. But Gilmore can actually replicate that shot to some degree. You could at least cut down to the parts which are visible. And I haven't had a real good look at it anywhere else. And if that's him across the street, then is he using an automatic camera or not? Is it doing most of the work for him? I seem energized. Just because I'm watching the sunlight come. Once the sunlight gets here, it's all over. The night. Top down, there's the map. The Bluegrass Grill. I think the most obvious sign of any kind of any kind of photo enhancement is in the levels after the fact. That's what I've been trying to point out too. If you look at the levels, you can actually see that, yeah, he at least ran it through some kind of software to balance what the tones were in the middle to make it more interesting or dramatic. That's true. There could be things added to it at the same moment in time, and that's the reason why if you add more light in certain ranges, it'll tend to hide the seams too. Maybe. They're putting glow around things, around the front of things which has been added. I should show that actually. I can make an illustration of that one. How an element which has got a seam or some kind of outline edge, you can do things to feather away that outlying edge, and then you can add a glow over it to make it look like it's blending into the background more. So any number of those things which are in the image, but you can tell a lot about looking at the image. What must be true about the camera settings, short exposure time, aperture, and the length, like the depth of the lens. Yeah, I should probably look at going to bed before line 2. Killer. Why is it having trouble here? Why is it having trouble? Video cam over. I seem energized. I'm still juggling that one. Let's look at marginally useful and operable. Gives me great hope. I at least got to mark these blocks. The streets come free that way. So I fill in the either fill in the outline for the Politico map to get that. Do it from about there, the downtown transit station. Coming up on 6:30 here. Which means it's pretty early in the morning for anyone to the west of me. Time for me to stretch my back a little. I ain't going to give up. I'm going to keep going for a bit. But after a short break. Oh, and before I'm gone, I'll even give you a little music in case you're in the background. Because, yeah, I went out of my way, hey? Really, I went out of my way. Got a little downloaded. Downloaded a few things which I had kicking around here. Check. 1, 2, 3. It's called Puff Puff Pass Fernando. Many years it's been since I saw a reefer in your hand. Did you find the bomb, Fernando? That dandy little glass one you got outside of Disneyland. I can see it in your eyes. You wanna try to steal across like the Rio Grande. No, Tommy Chong made it, man. He's not here. It was years ago, Fernando, when we met in Tijuana at a swank resort hotel. Maybe it was Acapulco. You worked the bar, Fernando. You were really well connected to the Zetas, I heard tell. And it was tattooed up and down your arms, that wide variety of chemicals you sell. It was something in the E, I think, but not the drink, Fernando. Drinking mezcal from the bottle straight, the word can wait, Fernando. Though we never thought we would run out of grass. Got a dealer who delivers, man. Guy's got a van, Fernando. Got a dealer who delivers fast, as in the past, Fernando. Are you still awake, Fernando? Would you put me in recovery position if I faint? Am I breathing right, Fernando? 'Cause I feel a little queasy from the smorgasbord we ate. And if you think that it's too early for this song, I'm here to tell you it's too late. Than Fernando. Many hours, many minutes seem to last eternity. And the firelight, Fernando, it was fucking pretty trippy once we dropped the LSD. And then the magic mushrooms, ayahuasca, don't forget the peyote. Got into
my guts done burst. Fernando. Then a big old bag of coca leaves for you and me, Fernando. No one ever thought you could run out of grass. The coyotes, they got some in the truck. With any luck, Fernando. Inside 10 miles of that Churchill Square, he's got your gear, Fernando. Throws a couple extra papers too in the bag for you, Fernando. 'Cause if I never use my brain again, I could just go ahead and bleach my hair snow white. No, 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 I don't smoke it no more.
Question: do you do a banjo track first or do you do a guitar track first?
It's banjo.
Just to find out the hard way.
Whatever you do, you don't fuck it up. Try not to laugh. Once again with the tide, she slips her lines, turns her head, then comes awake. Where she lays so still, there her privateers walk. Now she quickly gathers weight. She will range far south of the harbor mouth and rejoice in every way. You will know the blue nose in the sun. See a bow rise free from mother's sea, and in a sea burst cloud of spray that stings her cheek, while the rigging will speak of 3 miles gone away. She is always best under full breast and hard over as she lay. And who will know the blue nose in the sun? That proud last queen of the Grand Banks fleet portrayed on every dime. She knew hard work in her time, hard work in every line. And the rich men's toys of the Gloucester boys were there.
Both covers, both covers. Well, the first one said are not cover. This is cover.
But you left them all behind, and now a namesake daughter remains just to show what she has been. What every schoolboy remembers and will not all again. Just think she's the last of the Grand Bank schooner that fit so many men.
I had to tell you too, before I go any further, that's my old banjo, not my new one. That's my old one. It's quieter. Sweet rig that one. Yeah, follow the break. Follow the lead. Follow the lead.
But she's not tingling like a living thing, child of the moving tide.
And that's all she wrote. Not for the night, I mean musical break. How was that? Like 5 minutes on the button and I'm back. Ready to go. Get right back into this simple trace job. Thinking, hey, I might as well do some of these blocks. I get the roads free of charge if I do the blocks. Funny, right? So how much like I don't know, SimCity or sorry, can't avoid the joking. Really can't. It's not a joking matter. Most of the topics which are associated with this one. At the same time, well, City Hall is there, and that's got a bit of a, gosh, that's got a bit of a look to it, don't it? A rotate with R key. Get into the selection mode with tab. See, this one's got like a bunch of extra points already on it. If I hit A, I get all of them. I can scale these like I was doing in the last few videos in the clip editor by hitting S key and then choosing an axis, X or Y. S and Y in this case, I know that I'm going to want it stretched out a bit. This direction. Doesn't need to be altogether this much. But I only need something to start from. I'm going to start on that corner. This one will translate well. This one, stuff goes really fast once you get to knowing what you're doing with Blender. I think it's all a matter of learning curve with Blender. Times I would describe it a bit like a cliff. Other times not so much like a cliff. Once you're really comfortable with it, it's much less like a cliff. And then you begin to wonder, why is it that the other types of software don't do it this way? Because this is kind of better. For example, I like the graph window. I really like a graph editor and a graph controller for doing work on keyframes. Strikes me as the better option. Wow. Notice that I got rid of all of the faces, in fact, because the faces have been calculated here based on the fact that it had a face to start with. And every time I subdivided it added new faces to match. But now I've got free vertices. Many vertexes. Vertexes to the left of them, vertexes to the right of them. Vertexes in front of them. So on and so forth. Don't know the rest of that one. Hitting control here now and left click to get the rest that I need. I already got one waiting down here. Hit F to get the last line connected for City Hall. Get all of them. Hit F again, fills it in. Hello, City Hall. Can't fight City Hall. Don't know about that one. Did last fall at City Hall. That's when we did it in the road. Sure, gotta be careful with that Beatles reference. Why don't we do it in the road? Knock, knock on the door. Here comes Sony. Norcross Station. Must be the train station. North Maintenance Subdivision. North Mountain. Gosh, I cut the map off a little bit. Yeah, I rolled it. Took the map also, yeah, and I should probably make a note on it somewhere. Where north is. That would be a little more... And I remember I cropped this too. So, yeah, the north is actually defined right now in relation to this, the rotation. And I'm guessing it at that, but either way. Putting a north back in there wouldn't be too difficult. Put it in the corner somewhere. I'm using the scroll wheel here now and holding shift to go up and down or control to go left or right. True for any window in Blender. Good for precision. Might as well finish this one. Oh, this one's going to be way less important. Maybe I won't actually. South Street Brewery. All right. This is visible in some, isn't it? Take this block. I'll duplicate it. Shift D to duplicate. This is a fairly standard key combination in most types of software, whatever it is. Zooming with my mouse wheel otherwise. Hitting tab there. Getting this one back. Don't need to be too precise with the brewery. But I will get another subdivided vertice. Just subdivide once. So since we did that one, I'll do the one next to it. Shift D again. Here's a curious choice that I've got to make now. I'll do this one. Wow, that'll work well. That'll work really well. And now I'll extrapolate. Well, I can see that there's a line cutting across here. Goodness knows what that is. Is that elevated connection or just a regular roadway? I don't know. I have to go back and have a look at that. Oh, it's nothing. It's the boundary on the map. It's a grid square from... Okay. It's not a bike path. No. Okay. Fair enough. Parking area. I'm gonna actually denote this block even though there's another block right on top of it, kind of thing. This one will do. So yeah, I'm thinking that the thing to do is to fill in as much of these areas as possible. I'm going to start wanting to use some smaller, essentially smaller blocks. And I'm going to go back out of here now too, and we'll see something else. Look at all these blocks are starting to add up, right? Big bunch of them in the list. Each one of them is a mesh object. Each one of them, I can turn them on or off. I can make them selectable or unselectable. Like once I have them laid down like that, like block 1 up here, now I can't select it inadvertently. It's kind of locked there. I could select it, even though I can't select it here, I could still select it here. And you'll see the center point is what I'm selecting. Actually, that will show that it is selected. It'll allow me to change things about the block. I can change its rotation. Oh, maybe I can't. Oh yeah, I can. I can actually change anything about the block that's still true, right? Set this to gimbal. I'm going to put it to view now. Or maybe global would be better. That's why I wanted it to rotate the way I wanted it the first time. There's Y, there's Z. So even though I can't select it inadvertently now, I'm going to do that with a bunch of these. Well, maybe I shouldn't. All the same. Inadvertently is not my normal problem. Inadvertently, yes, more likely. Way more likely. So yes, probably want to do something about some of this. definitely going to do the church. Okay, duplicate this one. I can see how to do this. This is actually fairly straightforward. I did try to do it once and managed to get a little bit off kilter by the time I got to the end of it. I was like, I thought this was going to be easier than this. But no. I just moved the vertex, which I know I'm not going to actually want. It's this one and this one. If I delete X, only vertices. Dissolve vertices, dissolve edges. Like, we can also dissolve things here. Limited dissolve. Why do so many people wear backpacks? That's a very good question. I can give you an approximate answer for that one, Janet. I once went to a night down at a club. Oh, and at Seaville have backpacks. It's also very... I think it's common. I think it's more common than just in Seaville, in Charlottesville. I think it's a very common thing for people to have backpacks. I was once downtown at a club, and when I was leaving the club, other patrons of the club who were there with other people were out by the door and started to give me a little bit of grief over the fact that I was wearing a backpack. That's the only way to put it. They gave me grief over it, and I laughed at the time. I found them a little bit predictable, and I wouldn't call it rude, but anyway, there was 5 of them. It was only one of them was giving me kind of trouble over the backpack. So as I went past him, he started saying something about crack, 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 crack. And what's about the backpack? Crack, crack, crack. Anyway, I said, gee whiz, this guy got a problem with crack or something. Anyway, I turned around and I told him, that is my personal life support system. NASA terminology. I'm a space cadet kind of thing. And then immediately afterward, where there was 4 or 5 of them there, I said, excuse me, do any of you gentlemen have the time? One of them did, and that ended the altercation. But yeah, I think that actually goes across the viewer range of people that I've had the last few days. They might find the double irony in the having the time, asking about the time. Why do so many people in Seaville have backpacks? They were expecting, and they were prepared for some degree. They had water, they had probably a little bit of food. They were planning for a day out. All of the people who are medics have big first aid kits. The ones who are really good at it, I guess. There were a few there. Might have even been more than a little passable. So yeah, the center point for this one. Set to origin. I'm going to set this one to geometry. Get my points. Grab. Don't really need to be doing the church here. Don't think. But hey, I'll do it anyway for now. Just this edge. Thank you. Control to get the selection. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here to better get this one, since it's a little bit of a convoluted shape with many angles and many corners. Oh, darn, that was the wrong one. Control Z there. Common key press for most any kind of software. Why do they wear backpacks? Yeah, I think it's culturally trendy or expected. Some groups anyway. Or it's understood that you carry so much of the weight of your life on your back at all times for whatever reason. I don't understand it. I do understand it. What am I saying? I have a backpack. I carry a backpack pretty much everywhere. I'm setting origin to geometry here now for that. I don't think it needs to be really done that way, but what I'm probably going to do before long is for a bunch of the block entities themselves, I'll also set the origin to geometry, right to the center of the image that I'm trying to work on, or the area that I'm interested in. So if I try to rotate them, they'll all rotate around that common center. That's one way of keeping it all straight. Many students at Texas State University carrying many of these videos have big heavy ones, but I think they were planning for a day out. They were planning to be out there for a day, so they've got things packed in there, including, if not a change of clothes, they got food, they've got a first aid kit, they got whatever. How many hundred people, right? You got to have enough first aid supplies and enough water, say, for people who are getting heat stroke and didn't bring water of their own. And how much of that is nothing but water, I wonder? I bet a fair bit of it was water. Ooh, this one here. This side to this side. I've already deleted 2 of these and joined them again, but I'm going to subdivide it once to get this vertice. Grab it here. Control. I got a face in between that I don't really want. Control Z again and Control Z again. Get rid of the subdivide. Select all of them. X only faces. Don't want to delete the vertices. Now I'll do the subdivide. Now I grab it. Now I hold Control. Now I start to draw this. I'm not going to bother with this part there. The joined wall on them. And now on the opposite side we subdivide again. Move that one down. Select the last 2, F, to join those. Get real funky. All those vertices need a face. One on the front, not so much. What's the deal with this one? Yeah. So I'm going to try the same thing with this one. If I select these 4, X only face, yeah, it doesn't want to do it. It's to do it the way that I've been using. Yeah. Delete vertices. That'll solve that. Oh. F that side. F that side. Subdivide it. Subdivide it. Those are practically the same size, right? Grab on the Y. Hit the F. Select the bottom 2. F again. That's that one. Things which don't need a lot of detail include this one. But I'm going to be getting the roadway on it, so here I'll put this one over here. Put this one down in here. And that one over here. That'll do for that one. Same really goes for anything on the north side here. And what I just did for this one would pretty much work for this same. I shouldn't just say for this one, what I've been doing for the last 2 or 3. I'd even consider doing the roadway on this one. Thing is, I know I'm going to want a curve here, so I'm going to do things with curves for curved surfaces or a curved entity. X that edge. X that edge. Let's get it back. Get that one back. Subdivide. Subdivide again. I'm holding shift to multiple select more than one thing. I can also do this. Box select. Could also do this. C circle select. And then click and hold and drag around and select them like with a paintbrush. Carrying a big heavy pack is hard on the back. That I darn well know. That's why anyone who carries them for like big distances, they got ones with straps on the straps for the waist. Take the weight off the back, distribute it on the hips. Bet you darn a lot of water. Stands to reason what I did here, I do here. Stands to my reason. Seagulls have arrived. Back to where we started here. Ooh, I got 2 points selected. I do want that one to match on that one. Individually get this one. Delete the edge. Oh, control. I have to hold the control, right. Yeah, that last one, see, this is a curved surface, but I'm going to make this one not curved. Get that one there. Holding control for one more point here. Selecting the last one, that's the last edge, F. If we go back here now, we can start to see that the 3D information is on the map is there, right? So I can zoom into that. There's even what they call it, the camera has what they call fly mode, or there's, I don't know if F will do it here now, but it's a way of flying through the scene, so to speak, using your mouse. And of course, only my own familiarity lets me know what the area that I'm interested in is right here. I'm using control to scale and zoom. Shift to pan, and just middle mouse to roll. You can also roll around this point, or you can tell it that you want, roll around the middle of the image or whatever. And I can scroll side to side with the control. Shift to go up or down. So the downtown, excuse me, the downtown mall needs a block area added to show where there's bricks, basically. So there's this part, this grayed out area. That's what I'm indicating. Really looks like it spans across the road here, but it doesn't. It goes as far as, I guess. But that is an elevated, that's how E highway, right? Oi. Clinkety clink. Calm down, Joe. I totally do need to get Market Street at least as far as east, right? So these blocks up here to be done. Wow, all the parking spaces and stuff. It still blows my mind. It's like a giant swath of parking to the eatery district. I said somewhere else tonight. Somewhere else. I said at an earlier time tonight here on stream that I'm one of the crazies who holds out hope that it is possible, you know, however unlikely, that there's a cure for zombies. In the sense that the metaphysical construct is served a cultural use up to now, in the way that it's understood or interpreted. Consequently, I really do think there's a cure, so to speak. And it's a cure that has like a, how to describe it, inoculation against future infection from some kind of, I don't know, mutant strain. Let's put it that way. They don't get you the first time. This one's a little more convoluted, and I'm going to go ahead and make it convoluted. Like don't see why not. Subdivide once. Right? So this one now needs a subdivision. Which is there, and I'll grab this one. Lock it. Grab, lock it there too. Get it nice and precise if I want it precise. Now this one and this one need a subdivide. There it is. Grab and move it on the Y. From there, here, 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 here. This one and this one need a subdivision. It's pretty much already on point. We'll join them with the F key. And now I'm going to say, well, what the heck? Grab on the X. We'll just call that the back wall. Control, control, control. I didn't have to hit control 3 times. I mean, I'm using control on those points. W for subdivide. Grab, lock it to the Y-axis. This one and this one need a face. Now, that one, I'm going to start making up the area here which needs faces to get the buildings to come up. If I happen to want 3D buildings out of here, like some kind of raised area, these will want faces. So I'll add them in. If I hit A now, of course, all this is deselected, but I do see at least I've got these grayed areas grayed out. Here's the next one. This is the simple part. This is even easier than Photoshop. This is easier than Photoshop. W, subdivide, grab with G, right click that first, of course, to select it. F for face, or connect a line or a segment, an edge. They call it an edge here. That's all of them, all the way around. F again. Hit tab. So this even over a little bit too far. I don't really need to worry about that one. I just went out of my way to have fun drawing it. The north side of the street, hey, where the park is and stuff like that. Important. Should have took a little greater area there. I might have to go back and get another map and map it up again, or match it, I mean. But it's I already know most of the information here. It wouldn't be a bad or a hard thing to match. I can see that there's totally an easier way for me to do the roads. I'll even put them underneath this other layer. Nothing straighter than a railway line though, eh? Following the old, wherever the best contour is in the geography. Darn thing runs west, doesn't it? Proper west. Because I figure if I rotate this back, negative 19.7 it now, right? Yeah. So that's a mighty valiant good effort on the first part of the map done, if I do say so myself. Mapping out a large area. So now I'm going to start filling in some of the areas in around the downtown mall, just so the map can be color, basically so I can put in some coloration in these different areas. Then I can change the layers. Hey, like I know this stuff is brickwork, it's going to be underneath. Yeah, it's getting there. Thanks, Janet. Pat myself on the back. Woo, thank you, thank you. Starting to sweat too because it's like getting early. Window needs to be open. And I'm soon going to be ready to give this up for a little while. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm going to be doing some of this area thinking that'll be a layer which is underneath the blocks which I've just designated. Found a photo of the tundras plate. Yeah, bravo you. Exactly. Are you using Google or DuckDuck or what? Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, it changes. Okay, there's a siding there. Cool. Going through size videos. Yeah. So I got a bunch of stuff there. I can't wait to go over the Goldie ones there. Faith Goldie ones all lined off. Part 1, Part 2. That looks really interesting to me. I watched all of Ford's live stream, or I watched. That's dirty. That's a dirty lie. I have watched most of the live stream, but Ford released a compilation video. He called it a documentary. I'm at least as interested in Faith's sequential clips as I am with Ford's documentary, which I've already watched, and covered a bunch of different things that were happening at the park and various other locations, but still didn't quite. And it was from his good camera, of course. Pardonnez-moi. The Inn at Court Square. That looks like a fun one. I haven't done any of the buildings in these ones yet either. These are very, very simple to do though. Not much to them. Add a front, add a back. And as I say, the necessity to be a little detailed here is little or a lot is really arguable. But it's a simple enough task to complete and finish up. Which would be my main concern. I think I'm going to copy this one. Oop. After all, this line to Market Street, along Market Street East, this block, that gives me something to think about. I'm actually going to delete that one. Here it is, Wednesday, first day of the week. Week 45 of 73. Probably could have used a slightly larger image for the map there, eh? That being said, if I really know that I don't need much more than this, and if I'm going to spend much time zoomed in on regions of the map like this, then really I only need certain areas to be even basically covered. So much of the map I wouldn't want to have labeled. Wouldn't want to have label at all, but it could have a label put onto it. Like Water Street could have a label which floats, stays on the road, but stays off to the side, so it doesn't ever get in the way of what's in the middle. And tell us wireless pavilion. That makes me laugh. Duplicate. I'm looking for stuff which is very, very simple, very, very straight lines, and blocks which will probably need to be defined. Like this one, I'd say is a highly likely. Because it is on the corner, not on the corner, but it's on Market there. Market East. X to get rid of the edge. Grab to bring it back. Control to define it again. We did last fall. City Hall. Fire. So the park, second, third, everything across the road, all the way back, all needs to be done. But not the next one up. Up towards Jefferson and that, I don't need to do those. At least I don't think so. The park here, that's going to be important for other reasons. Maybe for another video. Early on, first week when I started doing these types of videos and started streaming, people were saying, keep up the good work, don't stop, whatever you do. And I don't plan to stop. But that's the thing, I also want to get things done so that I can move on to other topics as they arise. And if that includes, we don't have to throw all of our I keep saying we, I or anybody else. Nobody has to make everything once and for all in every video. Like, it's fine to cut a video down to a specific topic. I know one thing I'm interested in is, which was what Son of Neo identified, I think, in the original video that got me interested, thinking about it, and subscribed to Neo, Son of Neo. When I subscribed to him, it was because he continually put up these sources one after the other, most of which I knew I wouldn't have even searched for, let alone found. Just some of them are incredible. TBD, not so much. Grassy Knoll, wow, that stands out. That one stood out a mile to me. The more I thought about it. So even when I started, it was questions though that were raised between the various sources, and then partway through the series of videos that Son of Niwa was doing, he said, "Hey, don't want to talk about Ford Fisher anymore," and I don't blame him, because it's not all about Ford. But he had specific questions for Ford. For example, did you tell the cops that you saw the minivan on the corner before the accident? A good deal before any accident occurred. Because it is pertinent information to get correct. And there's not much sense in denying the evidence of the video, the wealth of video which does exist, even if it's incredibly bad quality. It does exist. Those two get joined. Get them all. No, I just leave that like that. Eighth Street, small block. Duplicate. Grab. So anyway, yeah, the Ford Fisher's timeline was the starting point. Son of Niwa also included a map the first couple of videos he did, many of the videos he did, because he knows, I guess he suspects the same as I do, that people will have an easier time understanding that there's distances involved and time involved. Like it's easier to understand that if you have a map to help make it understandable. W, as they say in French. W. Double V. W. Ouais. W. Anglaise. Market Street pops out of nowhere. So the downtown mall open access point, and they're through here. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Put a few buildings in up here. Again, doing everything in 3D here doesn't much make sense unless I put the contours of the geography into the map too, which is doable. Because top down, it would still be pretty much top down. But if we start doing contours and stuff, then perspective also becomes an issue. It's pretty neat. They got the church over here, and City Hall there, tram station. Son of Niwa had several issues with him. He wanted to know if he'd told the cops whether or not he had seen the van in the intersection ahead of time, ahead of the rally getting there. In short, the rally didn't hold up the van. The van was waiting for the rally. 2, did he see the Challenger going? Was he aware that he'd seen the Challenger going through 4th and Main, East 4th and Main, a minute or so before the accident occurred? And then, I think that was actually the main 2 questions he had for him. He said he would wanted to just basically question him, and I guess he did question him. He also said that in the videos, and so it was consequent to the questioning process that they decided they weren't going to do any more videos about Ford specifically. Some of those questions, though, I think we managed to answer just by looking at what we did have, and one way or another. I don't think that Ford's video captures the moment that the accident occurs, but it does capture the moment that the Challenger goes through the intersection quickly, faster than any other time. I think too that Ford needs to explain why it is he's tight-lipped or doesn't want to say certain things. Doesn't see things the same as the other people that are standing there next to him. The woman who says to him, if it's police car, she says, or something like that. He just keeps saying the same thing that he said to his stream 30 seconds before. And I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. So that's begging for questioning. Indirectly. After the fact. Nemo wanted to know how it was that he'd seen, like it was 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes between the time that he'd last seen the Challenger and the Challenger goes through the intersection again. And then he sees the Challenger leaving the scene of the accident as he's running towards East 4th and Main. So did he not put it together in his head that was the same car, or he didn't notice it when it was driving alongside of him for most of the walk that he was making on the road in the first place? I don't know. Pretty sure there's a way for me to set this up too that you can see this. The image axis, like all views or whatever. I want it to be in the top. Which one? I think it's time for me to take my leave for the morning. Janet, thank you very much for sticking around, helping keep me on task, keep me on point. Greatly appreciated. Anybody else wants to watch the stream or has been watching the stream after the fact? If you're wondering about the chatting or being part of the live community, look for the little subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, thank you. Next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell icon. Click on the bell icon. Tell it that you want to get more notifications. And then you can join in with the chat. See if I can't prove my point. Nah, I can't now. Not unless I go to another window. Thank you, Janet. I got my little list of things to do in front of me too, and I'm getting through them one at a time and quickly. Having good Gilmore makes me very happy. So, back in several hours. Give me about 6 to 12. And I'll talk to you all later. This is the Banjocast signing out.